Well, hello everybody. It's Stephen Ritchie. I'm a sculptor artist from Ashford in Kent. I've had a number of projects. I've got a number of dragons commissions on my plate, and I'm trying to make them do a number of things, in as much as this particular dragon could go to a couple of customers and also be a model for a much bigger one that I hope to put on a church. So that's what I'm doing with this. I don't always do drawings before I make the dragon, and I kind of didn't with this one. I must confess, I started the dragon and then did the drawing, so I backtracked myself a little bit. I hadn't made a lot of dragon, kind of knew the pose, but didn't know whether I could actually knock it out like this, but it's worked well. So now I can send the drawings to the customer and say, this is what I propose, knowing full well I've made most of it already. But there you are. That's how things work out sometimes. I'm just doing it in pen and a little bit of watercolour, and just to give someone an idea. Also, if I need any modifications to the real thing, I can do. Sometimes things get revealed. I realise that something's out of proportion with itself or something. So drawings can be helpful. I have made a few dragons now, so I don't always have to do it, but I get a bit complacent, I must be honest. I get a little bit, well, basically, I'll tell you now, I made a head for this thing. I got about 90% through the head and realised that it was the wrong size. So you get to see me making two heads for this dragon. And I should have told that appropriately, shouldn't I? The two-headed dragon. So this was the dragon that I proposed to make. And then the head actually turned out quite like the drawing. And this is how far I got with it as well. Now, I loved the pose with this. The legs took me ages. If you look at some of my previous films, you'll see that I struggled with this at the beginning. But as it went along, yeah. And I kind of know before it all gets galvanised and stuff, I can modify it to whatever shape I want. I've also... watch this film. It does go on for 13 odd minutes worth, so get yourself a cup of tea, pause it, go and make a cup of tea, come back, have a little look at what I'm up to. I found an absolutely fantastic little display stand for this, because I'm going to display this before I even expose it to the customer. The customer doesn't know I've made this yet, so there you are. I shall get it out there. Unless, of course, he subscribes to my YouTube channel, and he'll know, won't he? I'm not sure he has. Anyway, we'll find out, won't we? So, whenever I'm building something, I'll get to a certain point. If I get stuck in any way, or I get a bit cheesed off with what I'm doing, I'll backtrack. And my backtracking work was on the wings, and I just knew what I needed to do. I knew how much work I had here, and what I had to do to get it done, so I can sort of rattle along quite thoughtlessly here. I was struggling with my shield. It was getting a bit mucky. I keep changing the lenses. It was starting to foul. Changed the batteries in it. Still didn't look great. So I knew there was going to be a point I had to go and get a new helmet. And it's always a luxury when you go and buy a new welding helmet, especially the flash out screen ones. And this one's, the one I bought's got little side panels to it, so I can really see what I'm doing. It's a wondrous thing. Spent a bit more money than I normally do. The weather's been cold, so I'm wrapped up like a kipper. And I tend to put on too many clothes and then peel them off as the day goes on, as I get warmer and warmer. And I'm very lucky in this workshop that I've pretty much got sunshine on me all day. And in the summer it's going to be too hot for sure. But yeah, so I've made a bottom jaw, and I'm sort of making the sides to the jaw. The helmet then turned up, which is, like I say, cost me a little bit more money than I normally spend, but I'm hoping it's going to last a little bit longer. And I must admit, I'm well impressed with this lid. Well impressed. Very nice indeed. Anyway, onwards and upwards. So bottom jaw, laid a couple of teeth in. Now at this point, I should have realised that the whole thing was too big. And at this point, I could have shrunk anything down, chopped them teeth out, and maybe that's why I was chewing me, rubbing my chin so much. In the back of my mind, I knew there was something wrong. And I should have realised the whole thing's a bit too junky for the job. But I persevered, I cracked on with it, spent another enormous amount of time. But the whole laying up of the teeth, and of course making the teeth, I know what I'm doing there. It's another one of them jobs I can just crack on with. Quite enjoy it as well. Get a lot of bang for your buck, if you know what I mean, when you're working on teeth. Got all the right tools, made a few teeth in my time, so I'm pretty quick at it as well. And I'm rattling these out. I used to do too much detail on the teeth, unless the jaw is open, and you can see obviously the inside of the teeth as well. When the jaw is shut, the only bits exposed is the outside of the teeth, and I don't need to do so much work. So I've been overdoing it a bit in the day. But yeah, getting better at this. I'd like to say pretty quick. Not as quick as this. This film's speeded up a bit. But I do rattle along quite quickly. And yeah, I wanted to extend the bottom jaw a little bit so I know exactly where the teeth are going to lie. Then I start setting the teeth. Now, maybe I ought to get some dentist advice on this. But they can be a little fiddly when they rattle around. They're quite round, slippery shapes to hold onto, especially if I polish them up too much. And I set them in a bit of a framework first, and I'm trying to overlap. And I'm doing all, obviously, I turn it. I do the down ones and the up ones and go around this sort of framework. And again, I have done this a few times, so it's starting to go quite quick. I'd like to design them as well that it could be. If a customer said, no, I really want the jaw open, Steve, then I can quickly convert it into an open jaw. And then there's always a tongue to consider as well. So I'm making the teeth as pairs. And once I kind of know where they're going to go on the jaw, I start setting them up and chucking them in there. So that's what I'm trying to show you there, that I'm making them as pairs, which is best too, really, because your teeth are as pairs. I mean, it's a dragon. There's no hard and fast rules, but you'll soon know if it looks wrong. And with these teeth, again, really pleased the way things were turning out. It wasn't taking me too long. I was rattling on really well. Wasn't getting disturbed too much by anybody either. And the jaw was looking firm. I probably showed too much of the teeth. What on earth is that? Yeah, I probably showed far too much of the teeth, really. And I ought to be a little bit more subtle. They're always quite aggressive looking things when I'm making them, and I shouldn't be frightened and covering them up a little bit more flesh over the top of them. But there you are, the top jaw and the bottom jaw come together, and this is the point when I realise that I've got it the wrong way round. Once I actually put the jaw together, it wasn't looking right, so I flipped it up the other way and realised the jaw actually works better the other way up. So that's the first minor fail up, if you like. It definitely works better this way around. So that's what I stuck to. I started to make some eyes and making a bit of a forehead. And that's when my car broke down and I needed to go and change my fuel pump. And a little bit of electrical work. It was freezing cold. Then I got sidetracked by my neighbour, who's a fantastic talented joiner, and I made some little brass brackets for him that wanted to be pretty accurate. So got the old surface table out and stuff. Then come the weekend, I thought, I'm going to have the weekend off. Not going to work this weekend. So got the clay out and the Daz. Don't know if you've ever used Daz before, but it's terrible stuff. It's not like normal clay, really. Or it's not very good for what I was trying to do, which is quite detailed work. Didn't know what I was doing, really, but we've got a load of casting material to come in because we like to keep everything that we do original. I say we, Susanna. She does a lot of mandala and dot work, and we like to make little candlestick holders and things. And I like everything to be original, so even the holder itself. You can buy the moulds, but I like to modify the moulds and then make our own moulds and then paint them up. So it's all truly original to us, you know. Anyway, back to the old dragon. Then I was on the eyeballs. Now, oh, sorry, I'm still showing teeth. I do apologise. So that's the process of the teeth. It's a quick slice, quick grind up, and then on my wheel rather than hand 4.5 inch grinder, I then put a little slot in it, and then the slot fits in the wire. And in fact, this is now the next head. I made the first one. I might show it to you. I'm a bit embarrassed it didn't turn out very good, but the second head started to work out well. The teeth were a bit smaller, It was capped in a thicker material, so I had a bit more to work with. I could turn the heat up a little bit. And I'm working really quickly now because I'm a little annoyed I've got to make a second head. But I'm really pleased with the way this one was going. You know, when you know what you've done wrong, you just know what you've done wrong. So this is the second head, top and bottom jaw, not so many teeth, and the teeth stop a little bit earlier. It's still got that sort of reptile-y smile that crocodiles or alligators have, and obviously have the ability to sort of pull it apart and stuff. You can see me doing there, you can even hear it. And yeah, yabba do, it's really rocking now. Give it a little bit of a texture with like a little round router as well, and then on with the eyeballs. Now the eyeballs, a bit of round that I rounded up, put a hole, don't drill it in very deep, drop a ball bearing in it, put a slot in the ball bearing, top and bottom eyelids, you know, just so it's sort of covering it up, and then a little bit of like scaling to give it a little bit of texture, and that's your eyeball. If you don't make the effort to sort of do at least that much work, which doesn't take too long, the eyeballs, I tried to shortcut the eyeballs on the other head and I'm just embarrassed what they look like. So that was the second head. A little bit more work on there to do. I didn't get a last picture. You'll have to wait to another video. When I get to put it on the stand, I'll show you exactly what I finished there. I also realised that the neck was too fat, so I chopped the neck down a little bit. You know, don't be frightened if you make a mistake with anything. You can always chop it out before you galvanise and get it painted. You know, do it while it's all bare metal. That's the stand that I found, and very pleased with that. And then just for display purposes, because I've got another stand laying around that could hold the weight, that's what I did. I'm getting a friend of mine to make a what would you call it, a lazy butler, like a spinning stand. So that piece of timber that you saw there is away with a friend at the moment. I'll show you some film footage if he lets me use it. That'll be on the next film. So that's the head that came off. Really, the size of it really fitted very well. Should have got a shot for you from underneath, because that's pretty much where it'd be seen, but all of that works really, really well. And with its sparring off tail, which takes forever, it was all worth it. Whatever time these things take, it'll live longer than me. Anyway, this is Steve Ritchie. Thanks for listening to all my waffle. Like the sun came out, it wasn't particularly warm, but I wheeled a few things out, made a stand for a solder dragon that's been with me for a while, made a stand for that. Need to repaint something for display. That's the one with its new head. Haven't finished really welding it on there, but until I get it off the ground and get the height right, won't know the angle properly. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, everybody. Have a good life, have a good time. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that little bell and all the other things you have to do. All right, thanks for listening now. Watch out for the next one. Got lots of bits and bobs on the next one. Should be pretty interesting. Thank you now. Bye bye.